One of the recurring themes of 21st century filmmaking has been the anthology film. For those unaware of the term, an anthology collects a few short films and connects them together either thematically or within an overarching plot. Sadly though, the anthology film has been largely manipulated and exhausted throughout the last few years. It's been bled dry in the horror genre, particularly in the VHS franchise or that terrible film The ABCs of Death. The latter even deals in different languages and genres which, while awesome and inclusive, actually disrupts the cohesion of the film as a whole. Where these anthology flicks struggle is in finding a connective tissue that works. In the VHS franchise, what attempts to connect the stories is a group of people watching videotapes. That's a rather lazy excuse for combining a bunch of shorts together. That's where they fail, when you begin to see them as a combination of short films and your biggest takeaway is perhaps one or two stories out of, say, 5. The film immediately fails as an anthology. Sharing a genre in common does not make for a great anthology film. Instead, it instantly appears gimmicky. This is why today I want to discuss 2014's Wild Tales. This Argentinian film combines black comedy with inherent socially conscious themes to provide us with, for my money, the greatest anthology film ever. What Wild Tales proves is that the anthology can break out of the shackles of horror, and when it does, it can do so much more than shock and scare. Remember how I mentioned the VHS franchise a few minutes ago? I want to hone in on that again, purely because I think it offers a solid platform for comparison on what makes or breaks an anthology film. The VHS films are largely comprised of 4 to 6 shorts and directed by different filmmakers in each one. While this is a cool and innovative platform to lend voices to smaller filmmakers, what actually ensues is a catastrophic mess in regards to tone and cohesion. Maybe one film sticks out above all else, but I don't think that's what an anthology film should aspire to be. Above all else, it should be a reflection of talent and collaboration. And sadly though, what connects each story together in the VHS series is the horror genre. Nothing more, nothing less. So how do you connect multiple stories together despite having completely different characters and plot? Wild Tales answers that question with aplomb and style. Firstly, it's directed and written by one man, Damian Cifrón, and immediately this allows the vision to be singular and focused. There's no confusion in what the message is or what the story's about. In theory, that means more control over the way in which stories connect. Rather than having those frustratingly pointless midpoints between the end of one short and the start of another, Cifrón doesn't relinquish his pressure points on the story. Instead, he connects them through transitions, for example. Take the end of this short, The Rats, with the beginning of The Strongest. All he needs is a car, some movement, and boom, here we are, transported immediately to the next story. No title card is necessary, a la The ABCs of Death. Nor do we need a random interlude like the one offered up in this year's XX, for instance. Secondly, let's discuss character. Often in anthology films, we're inundated with characters that exist merely as vessels to serve a gimmick, right? And they're usually underdeveloped. This is why I'm enamored with Wild Tales. The excuse can often be, well, why should they develop characters if each short is only 20 minutes long? To which I reply, watch Wild Tales. Here's a film that, with every passing short, is able to establish the following: a backstory, a goal for the character, and their interactions with society. It's proof that you can focus on character development in anthology films rather than hide behind an idea that it's impossible. By focusing purely on technical ways in which to advance a story, Cifrón achieves a genuine cinematic feel to the anthology film. Typically, anthology films feel disconnected. You can kind of skip one story and still retain total understanding of the following one. If you do that in your first viewing of Wild Tales though, you will miss the increase of pressure on this world and the social commentary on class structures in Argentina.
I, as a regular person, feel something that I guess that we all feel, that is that this system is not designed for our benefit, but for the benefit of very concentrated groups of power. The desire of, I would say that it's about the desire of doing what you feel and not measuring consequences.
Because that's the brilliance of Wild Tales. Sure, it's a comedy, jokes are made, but it's also an incredibly important look at financial disparity in Argentina and the way in which those in power with wealth look down on the everyday man. In fact, scratch what I just said about Argentina, it almost feels pertinent to every single country. Take the Bombita story. It's a revenge short about a man who keeps getting his car towed. But is it really? On the surface, yes, but it's more about the everyday man being pushed around by big money corporations. That short, the fourth in the film, then bleeds right into The Proposal. Cifrón only briefly touches upon the everyday man being pushed around in the previous short. Now he explores it with a wider scope. The Proposal is about a wealthy man's son who, after a night out, runs over a pregnant woman. It becomes nationwide news, the family conspire to pin the murder on their gardener, and it eventually becomes a story about a man of considerably lower wealth being pushed around by money. That type of commentary, that type of critique is non-existent in the majority of anthology films. And while they don't have to necessarily carry a message, I get that. I feel like Wild Tales proves that anything is possible with an anthology film. You can make it cohesive and you can make every story connect with the next and tie in to an overall message. Every story is unified by themes of revenge and deceit, rather than simply sharing a genre in common. Cifrón goes further to bless us with cohesive political messages and social commentary, making Wild Tales a truly cognitive cinematic experience. It feels like a feature-length film that happens to be comprised of short stories, rather than what we're used to, a smorgasbord of short stories masquerading as a feature-length film to serve a genre. By tying each story together with transitions, effectively making title cards redundant, and amplifying the commentary, Wild Tales exists as a masterful anthology film. It should be used as a blueprint for studios and filmmakers embarking on any anthology project, and it's all thanks to the focused mind of Damián Cifrón. Hey, thanks for sticking around. I've never really addressed you guys at the end of a video, but I thought this necessary. Thank you so much for 4,000 subscribers, it really does mean a lot. I hope you enjoyed this video essay and what has really become one of my favourite films of the century. If you did enjoy it, please do click the like button beneath the video, it helps me gauge your enjoyment. Alternatively, you could leave a comment, or do both. If you do both, you're the coolest motherfucker on the planet. Also Patreon, if you want to support the channel and help me make this a serious career one day, you can pledge $1 per video over there to help that become a reality. Cheers!